After last week, I've been thinking a lot about further safeguards that we can put in place in case Maggie does get out. And okay, so one of the things that really bugged me was the car that went past when Maggie got out. It really looked like one of our neighbors' cars, and basically every time I've met a neighbor, we only have about 20 neighbors. Every time I meet a neighbor and every time I've gone up to a neighbor, there are neighbors that we know really well who know all about Maggie, and neighbors that we know less well, and a few neighbors that we've never met, even though it's a small little block, just because some people are basically never at their house, never outside. And so it's kind of, for a lot of people, it's kind of a commuter's community where they just hop on the highway and go work in whatever town they work in and come home and get going through their garage and go inside, and you basically never see them. So there are people that I've never talked to. However, I thought that the car that drove by was a car that I recognized, but I'm not 100%. And either way, it made me really sad that it looked like one of the cars in our neighborhood drove down the middle of the 55-mile-per-hour frontage road and just drove by her and then pulled into our neighborhood and went into one of the garages. So I felt like a lot of times nowadays you see so many videos and articles where people are like, you know, talking about free-range kids and talking about how, you know, their neighbors called the police. And so you do have the neighbors that call the police that are super overreacting, and I think sometimes people don't want to be that neighbor that has called the police on a child, even maybe if they see that child who is doing something super dangerous, like in this case Maggie was doing. So I don't know, maybe the people that drove by didn't want to be those people that overstepped, that called the police, even though they did see a kid who was doing something that was super dangerous. So, what I started to say earlier is that when I do meet people, when I have met the neighbors in this neighborhood, one of the first things I say is like, "Hi, I'm Cammie," and usually within the first 2 minutes I'll be like, "Just so you guys know, we do have a daughter who has autism. She's not very verbal. She does have some words but not a ton of words, and she does have a tendency to elope. That means she runs away. She takes every opportunity that she can to basically just take off, and we have a ton of locks on our doors basically everywhere, but still she has gotten out in the past. So if you ever see her," and then I'll bring up like a picture on my cell phone, I'm like, "This is what she looks like. Here's a couple pictures of her. If you ever see this little girl, she's about this tall with brown hair, sprinting by herself, please, if you can grab onto her. If not, you know, call the police, come to our house, please call the police." I've said that to every single neighbor that I have ever had a conversation with in our neighborhood. But I know that, like, you know, if they see a little girl with brown hair, they might be like, "Okay, was that the little girl that I saw a picture of 3 years ago or 2 years ago or, you know, 6 months ago?" It's hard to remember. I mean, it's hard to hold a face in your head that long, especially since Maggie's not ever playing out in our front yard. She's always in the backyard. She's at therapy a lot. Our neighbors aren't probably really going to recognize her. She is the kid that comes home and goes out and plays in the backyard. She's not playing with our neighbors' kids because she's just not. She's not going to school with them. I understand that they may not recognize her. I decided that I needed to do something about that. This is what I decided to do. I'm covering up my phone number down at the bottom, but I'm also going to put a screenshot up, and I'm also going to link to my blog down below, and I'm going to put up one that I made that has the little phone numbers X'd out, and I'll also paste in the text of what it actually says for anyone who feels like using it for your own personal use. If you feel like you need a card like this that would be helpful, or like a script like this to use to give to your neighbors, feel free to copy it and hand it out to your neighbors if you have an eloper, because yeah, it took me a little while to like find the right words, and I was trying to find words that were compelling, that would stick with them to explain what's going on. So here's what I wrote. I wrote, "Hi, my name is Maggie and I have autism, and I don't have very many words. Sometimes I run away. If you see me out without my mom or dad or grandparents, please don't hesitate to stop me. And if you can't, call 911 right away. That call could save my life. And then please call my mom at," and it has my phone number. "My dad's number is," and it has Paul's number, and it says, "Thank you." And I put Paul's number on there too because, well, first off, I put my number and asked them to call me because Paul is usually at work, and so I want them to call me because I'm usually going to be the one that's here to actually go after her if somehow I haven't noticed that she's gone. But then I also wanted Paul's number just in case somehow like my phone doesn't ring, so that they can call somebody else after hopefully they've called 911. And hopefully if there's some way that I haven't picked up, something's happened to me, that he will get that call. I made this on PicMonkey and I tried to make it with a nice clear text. What I did was I picked one of their, I think I picked 6x4, the 6x4 format for like a blank 6x4 format, and I dropped the pictures in on a transparent background, and then I picked the blue background and I put in white text and I made it, and then I saved it in GIF form, and I went over to Target Photo and I ordered 30 of these. And after I ordered 30 of these, the first thing that we did was we actually went to the police station today and we gave 4 of them to police officers and explained the situation to the local police. And I'm pretty sure Paul's actually talked to some of the police officers about it before, but it's always good to just kind of, you know, have that conversation again. And he actually also gave them 3 more, and they're going to take them over to the local fire department, one of the police officers is, and also kind of give them a heads up too, just in case a call ever comes in, because sometimes fire and rescue also responds. And then we are also going to go door to door to, well, Paul I think is going to be the one to go door to door to all of our neighbors in our entire neighborhood, and he is going to take these around and give one, at least one, to every single house in our entire neighborhood and talk to all of our neighbors again, and just again explain what's going on, explain how her eloping is ramped up recently, and explain how important it is to please, if they do see her, if you see this little girl out and about without a grown-up, please, 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 please call 911, because she can't be out without us. Yeah. So that is our backup after the locks, after the cameras, after the upcoming security system backup plan that hopefully we will never ever have to use. Oh my gosh, I'm like getting a headache just like thinking about it. Not a migraine though, my migraines are on the side, but yeah, hopefully it never is something that we need, but so many times the nevers have been things that have saved us. Always kind of have to be a step ahead, and this is me being a step ahead. If you have a super eloper, a super runner, hopefully this is helpful to you. I hope you don't have a super runner though, because having a super runner is scary. Anyways, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.